Welcome back, my friends. How we doing? Good morning. All right. Man, I woke up with I don't know, something's going on with me today. Some back pain. I got woken up to it. I hope it's not like, I don't know. I've been calling my aunt. She's a nurse. So a little bit in pain today, guys. But I'm pushing through it. It might be, I did a pretty heavy lifting day on Monday. I did some benching. I think I may have messed up some muscles in my back. I think that's most likely what it is. But, yeah, maybe old age. I don't know, man. I'm just hoping it's not like an organ thing, like a liver or a kidney or something like that. Gallbladder. I don't think that's what it is, but got to be careful. Morning, guys. Welcome back. Yeah, I think it was the benching. I just pushed it a little bit too hard. That last rep I was really pushing. I probably shouldn't have been doing that. I don't think I need to be doing that anymore. I don't think I think the age I'm at the age of just repping rather than trying to max. So sports massage? Yeah, I should try that, right? It's not a bad idea. So I'm just drinking a lot of water today. Trying to stay hydrated. I could care less. I couldn't care less if it's just a muscle thing. I don't care at all. I'll be fine. All I care about is not being a organ problem. It's like middle back. It's not like lower on a certain side. I think organ problems is usually like one side at the lower. So it's not that, just like a consistent middle back pain, like a muscle pain. So I don't care if it's muscle. If it's muscle, I'm happy. I'm having a great day. If it's organs, then I'm a little bit more scared. I do not like messing around with, I'm one of those people, I don't know about you guys. I do not like, I'm just terrified of being injured. And it's just like one of those things. A little bit of tequila. I agree, Sammy. A little bit of tequila. That's all you need. Morning, guys. Welcome back. How we doing? Yeah, I definitely don't want it to be that, pancreatitis. So, we'll see. If I go absent, then you know you know where I'm at. All right. Well, hope you guys had a good trading day yesterday. Pretty much just like a pretty consistent grind to the upside yesterday. Really, and you guys can see the title of this live stream was the major QQQ level, which again is that daily 20 SMA. That daily 20 SMA just continues and continues to maintain this market, right? And so yesterday we had some really nice downside trades early morning, right? We really did. I had some beautiful downside trades early morning, which I took some profits on. And man, was it just key to be profit taking yesterday into that daily 20 on that morning drop, because that QQQ level held like a champ. And, I definitely gave back a little bit. I was up maybe about 4,000 or 5,000 on the day early morning, and then ended the day up about 2,500. So I gave back some profits on that very aggressive pop. But man, did you have to trust that QQQ level, because if not, the rest of the day was just that grind higher off that level. So again, we talk about that daily 20 all the time, and we need to stay focused on that level. It continues to maintain this market, and that's really going to be sort of that, I think, line in the sand. If you're looking for, like I tweeted yesterday, if you're looking for the next downside on the market, it's going to come from a break under that daily 20. But for now, we continue to maintain it. And that's going to continue to be the level we watch. So we'll talk a little bit monetization off. Oh, What's this all about, YouTube? I ain't here for free. All right, we're good, I think. There we go. All right, so we'll go through the levels. We'll go through everything today. Today, we have the 30-year bond auction, and then we have PPI tomorrow. So some more economic data hitting this week. So far this week, I've been getting the vibe of just don't even do that much. That's sort of been my week. I am very content to be very, very lightly trading this week. It's been still in a channel on the Nasdaq futures. And I just haven't quite seen, a really solid trading day yet. Monday was absolutely terrible. Yesterday was decent if you long that 20 SMA. We still have some levels above here on the Nasdaq NES, and we still have some major economic data approaching the rest of this week. So it's still a little bit risk off for me. A little bit risk off still is how I'm approaching this week. I haven't quite gotten a very, very good read yet. Last week I was sort of in tune with a lot of things going on. This week feels a little bit more sloppy, and just I have maybe a little bit more hesitation due to that economic data. So maybe that's a me problem, but I think it's at the end of the day, in my opinion, I'm okay being a little bit more hesitant during a week like this. Big economic data week, a little bit more hesitant, play protection. End of day, long term, I think that's a good way to approach this week still. We'll see how today looks, but that's just sort of giving you guys a read into my mind. It's been a little bit more risk off, just not wanting to really push it into these events, right? CPI, PPI, bond auctions, sort of been a little bit hesitant on some of those events, really getting anything with major size and major confidence. So that's sort of been my week so far. That's at least what's going on in my head. But let's go ahead and dive into the economic calendar here, guys. You can see today we have the crude oil inventories at 10:30. This could be something to pay attention to. Crude oil inventories. I think oil actually made an interesting move yesterday. Gold Sauce in the chat let me know that I think there was some comments from Putin about oil yesterday. Let me see if there was. Yeah, there was like a little intraday drop on oil. It looks like it's popping again today. So oil's been pretty, it's been pretty nothingness lately. Really hasn't been a major focus on the market here. So not really watching it that close, but we could sort of monitor to see what oil does, what the CL does on the oil inventories today. So just be aware of that. That's at 10:30. And then today at 1 o'clock, we have the 30-year bond auction. We had a little bit of volatility yesterday on the 10-year. Nothing crazy. Nothing that really moved the market. But today is the 30-year, and this is most likely the largest bond auction that there is. The 30-year is definitely a very big one. Probably the biggest, I would say. And so just watch out for this 30-year today at 1 o'clock. Tomorrow, 8:30, we have the PPI, the retail sales. This is probably the biggest economic data morning of the week, maybe besides the CPI. But you have PPI, you have retail sales. These are two big ones tomorrow morning. So if you are swing trading today, if you plan to hold anything over the week or overnight, just be aware of that. You also have unemployment claims. So PPI, retail sales, unemployment claims, all tomorrow morning at 8:30. Be aware of that if you are swing trading anything overnight, okay? All right. Earnings calendar. We have, let me go ahead and pull that up real quick. Earnings calendar. Zoom in on this. You guys can see right here. Today, before open, Dollar Tree, nothing too crazy. Tonight, UiPath, Lennar, nothing wild there. Tomorrow morning, Dollar General, Dick's. Tomorrow night, Adobe, Ulta. These are probably the biggest two of the week, Adobe and Ulta. Probably the biggest two to be sort of watching. And that's pretty much the end of the week for the economic or the earnings calendar. All right. So that's really it for that kind of stuff. Let's jump into the charts. So let's go to the 4-hour and let's get a look at just sort of this structure that's continuing to build here on the market. And so what we can see here is we have definitely built a channel here on the Nasdaq futures, right? We can see a pretty clear channel since I would say around the middle of February. We have built a channel above this 18,150 level, right? 18,150, 18,150, 18,150. We continue to hold above this level. And we also see we have that 20 SMA that's sort of been grinding higher, right? Holding this market up. So we're just continuing to do this, right? We're continuing to see these holds come in at this 18,150. Anything under this level is where that slip comes in, right? But as of right now, we continue to maintain it on the longer term structure, and that is very important to understand for the market, right? Because as long as we're above this level, this market is going to want to move higher. We continue to see this level hold. 18,150 and that daily 20 SMA continues to maintain this Nasdaq higher. Today, you can see we pushed higher, and I think we pushed higher into this 18.5 supply. This 18.5 supply, if I go to this 30-minute chart, looks to be a previous support from back here on Thursday and Friday of last week, right? You can see right here, we have this little low at 18.5. We have this low Friday morning at 18.5. And then that Friday was that big drop under 18.5, under 18.4 that sort of drove this market lower. Today, you can see we pushed higher and we came right back into this 18.5. So today, it's very clear what level needs to break for upside continuation. 18,500 on the Nasdaq futures is the very clear level that we need to break above for upside continuation today, right? We need to get above 18.5. We need to turn that into support. If we see that, we get our next push towards the highs. 18.5, easy level. That's what we're watching this morning. If your TOS looks different, it's probably because you do not have adjust for contract change. Make sure that you are adjusted for contract change on the futures. So very clear 18.5 level today coming into today. We don't want to be too aggressively long into that level. We're seeing the pre-market rejection step up at this level. So just be cautious if you are long into this 18.5 today. Could be a tough level to get above. If we get above this level, then I think you are clear for that further upside move. The pullback level that I think would be the cleanest long today would be these previous highs right here. This previous high right here, 18.4. This previous high, 18.4. This previous high, 18.4. This previous low, 18.4. And this previous high, 18.4. All right, we can see, look at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? Multiple reactions at 18,400. This would be the level you really want to see us hold if we pull back today, right? This could be that pullback long that creates the upside above 18.5, right? I don't see us hitting all-time high. We did not hit all-time highs. At least that's not what's on my chart. So in my eyes, what I'm reading, no, we did not. All-time highs was Friday's high. If we go to the QQQ, all-time highs was Friday's highs. We are not above all-time highs. Okay, so 18.5 looks to be, right, looks to be that level that we need to break. And 18.4, in my opinion, would be the strong level that you want to see maintained today for that potential next long entry, right? If we can get a pullback and a very solid hold at this 18.4, I think that could be your next long entry on the market today. If we fall back under 18.4, it gets a little bit more questionable, right? It's just a little bit more questionable to me because if we fall back under 18.4, right, if we get this drop, we start to see intraday rejections at 18.4, it's a little bit more questionable to me. And the reason for that is because that means that we are back under this high, we are back under this low, we are back under this Wednesday high, we are back under this rejection point, and we are back under this high right here. Right? I don't really like us back under 18.4 to long the market until it gets back down to here. Right? Because if you long here, you could still move down to that 20. You can move back down to that demand at 18,150. If we move under 18.4, I think your next long has to be a little bit lower, right? Maybe down at this 18,250, maybe down at that 18,150, right? So I don't like us under 18.4 for intraday longs today, Okay, if we're under 18.4 today, I'd assume you could need some more pullback down towards that 20 again and down towards potentially that demand low at 18.150. Okay, so 18.4 in my eyes is sort of that intraday level that you want to see hold today for that very strong continuation move. That would be the pullback level I would be eyeing. If you get under that, sort of a little bit more difficult of a read, in my opinion. If you sort of slip under that level, I would probably stay a little bit more patient on the longs if you see that. Okay, so 18.4, 18.5, it's a very clear 100-point range right now in the Nasdaq futures. I would watch to see which side this Nasdaq wants to move out of it today. If the Nasdaq falls under, a little bit more questionable on the longs. If the Nasdaq gets over 18.5, then I think very good confidence on the longs for that push into that 18,600. All right, so that's my read right now. If we go to the QQQ, you guys remember we talked about that 442 level, right? We had that 442 level. We had the previous highs right here, 442, 442, 442, and 442. 442 on the QQQ is 18,400 on the Nasdaq futures. So what I would want to see today is the QQQ to pull back, right? If the QQQ pulls back, does it hold these previous levels? Does it hold above 442? If the QQQ maintains this level today, I think that is a potential long entry for more upside. The upside supply that's stepping in right now is right around this 444 level, and it's the same as that 18,500, right? Right in here. You have these previous lows. I'm going to go ahead and draw this out for you. Right there. Turn that red. Right there. Turn that red. Bam. And you can see, right, 444, 444, and you're seeing those morning reactions at 444. So you can see it is pretty much identical between the Qs and the Nasdaq futures. You have a 2-point range on the Qs, which is about a 100-point range on the Nasdaq futures, 18.5 to 18.4, and then on the QQQ, it's 444 to 442. Okay, so that's pretty much the same read. Under 444, right? You can move down to that 440, which held yesterday. Absolutely. I don't know if I would want. Here's what, right? Here's where this is my mindset, and this goes back to what I talked about on the Nasdaq futures. If you break under 442, yeah, you could get support here at 440. Yes, you could get support around this 439, right? You could see some of these supports step up, right? Absolutely. However, if you fall under 442, right? If you fall back under this level here, this, if you fall back under here, I am not that fond of longing back into it, right? That's the problem for me. So yeah, you might find support at 440. Yeah, you might find support at 438. You might find those supports that step up, but then I'm a little bit cautious, right, of longing back into that 442 because you could get something like this, right? 440, pop back into 442, and then a rejection at 442 for more downside. So I don't want to long. I'm not as confident in longs today if you break under 442. Okay, that's really the level that I think needs to hold to continue this structure upside move. All right, if you really want this to structure to the upside, I think the 442 is that level that needs to hold. Okay, there's definitely scalps, right, guys? There's scalps all over the market. I can't tell you, an hour and a half, an hour before market opens where every scalp of the day is going to be. Okay, that's impossible. But I can tell you sort of those larger term structural point levels that you should be watching to get a feel for the market. I would say the major one today is 442. I can tell you that if you fall back under that level, you might find some resistance back at it if you move back up into it. Of course, there's going to be 1 point, 2 point scalps all over the market. That happens every day. But it's impossible for me to tell you what's going on an hour before the market on two-minute scalps, okay? So I just give you those key structural levels. 444 and 442, I think, are the major ones today. Under 442, I'm not as fond on the long side. So That's what I'd be watching today. Under 442, I think you might just retest that daily 20, right? And that daily 20, look at that level yesterday, right? Look at this action yesterday. We dropped lower yesterday, and I mean, look at this candle. I mean, there's nothing quite more clear than that 5-minute candle yesterday, right at the 9:45, right at 9:45 yesterday, 9:45 a.m. Eastern. Look at this candle off the daily 20. Just a sick wick hold right at that daily 20 and continuation from that point. So if you want to long this market at a good discount, you are continuing to look for longs here and wherever that daily 20 is. Right? That is where you're looking for that long. You can see how beautiful that was yesterday. Okay? All right. ES. So, ES is over. ES has definitely been stronger than the Nasdaq futures as of late. The ES is over our 52.35. And that is really, I mean, it's a little bit of an extended level to want to hold today. But that is definitely a level you'd like to see hold if you really, really want to see upside continuation. Right? If you just sort of want this market to rip today, I think a hold above this 52.35 right here would be the key. Right? 52.35, you can see 1, 2, 3 previous highs. You are consolidating above it today. If this market can maintain here today, then I think you get all-time highs, or at least an attempt into all-time highs. Right? If you fall under that 52.35, then I think this is actually quite an interesting and quite a strong pullback level to look for, 52.10, right? Look at what happened at 52.10 yesterday. Let's go to the 5-minute chart. Look at this right here, guys. You had this pre-market high, 52.10. You had some early morning rejections, 52.10. Look at the pop. Look at the pullback. And, I mean, look at that. Doesn't quite get more beautiful than that on the ES yesterday. Pre-market highs, morning rejection high, 52.10, 52.10, breakout, pullback, perfect hold at 52.10, and continuation. Right, that's a beautiful break and retest on the ES yesterday, proving that 52.10 is a strong level. So if you do pull back to that 52.10 today, right, let's go ahead and look for that next long entry. All right, if we fall under that 35, we see some rejections here. You probably come down to that 52.10, which could be your next spot to look for the longs. So I like that 52.10 level today. I would absolutely have that on your ES futures chart. I would also be watching this previous day high right around this 35. Okay? If you hold above this 35, market's strong, right? If you see this 52.35 holding today, that is a very good sign of strength on the market. All right, if this thing just won't break, then I think you push towards that all-time high. If you get under it, you're looking for this drop down here. Is there shorts from here to here? Absolutely. All right, absolutely there's some shorts possibly from that 52.35 to 52.10. Okay? SPY, 514, 512. You guys can see right here, the 512 hold yesterday. We maintained above that 512, which was very key. Right, 512, 512, 512. We held above that 512 yesterday. After we reclaimed that 512 yesterday, that's where this market really started to push, right? We reclaimed that 512, and we got that very aggressive push. What did we do? We had that 514 morning high. We pulled back. Look at that 514 hold right there, right? Look at that 514 hold right there. So here's the SPY, right? If we were to line this up like the Nasdaq futures, we have this, it's like 516.50, which is holding in the pre-market today, right? We have like this 516.50, that previous day high. Let me go ahead and zoom in on this. So you can see right here, previous day high, 516.50. You can see it is maintaining very nicely. That is really the major hold you'd want to see for extreme strength today. If you do not break yesterday's highs on the SPY today, then you are absolutely looking for that push into all-time highs. If you break under yesterday's highs at 516.50, then I think you will get your pullback to your 514. 514 is equal to what? The 52.10, right? Which could be your very sexy long entry. That could also be on SPY at the 514 level, okay? So this would be the very strong hold. I don't have if it breaks under that, I don't think it's that important, right? That would be a very, very confident upside hold. But even if we do break under this today, I think this is still a potential long entry to watch at that 514. If you break under this 516 today and you fail to hold above yesterday's highs, there is definitely a short side play here, right, on a rejection of previous day highs. But you have to understand, right, if you are looking to short this market, which is a very strong upside trending market, if you do look to short a rejection under yesterday's highs, it is a scalp, right? This is a scalp trade. This is not I am short here for new lows in the market. I am short here until the next demand, which is at 514. This is absolutely a tradable opportunity today if we get that rejection, but you have to have realistic expectations, right? We're not shorting under yesterday's highs for a move back down to 508.50, okay? We're shorting under 516.50 for a move back down to next demand at 514 with realistic profit targets. That is what you have to continue to do if you're going to short against the upside trend. All right? Let's go to the Russell. The Russell, pretty weak yesterday. Pretty weak yesterday on the Russell. Really no strength, right? Russell did not have strength with the overall market yesterday, so a little bit interesting, right? You can see we did hold that 20 SMA area, which is, we did it. We do have demand down here around that 2070. You can see that right here, right? 2070 demand right here. But yesterday, look at what held on the Russell, right? We go to the 5-minute chart. What held, right? Once again, our daily 20. Our daily 20. Still acting as a support on the Russell as well. However, little bit ugly on the Russell here, right? Just a little bit ugly. Really no strength yesterday. Really nothing that's that clear to me. And it seems to me like the Russell is just sort of rejecting overall. It's still just sort of rejecting this major high, right? Right here, 21.25. It still just looks like it's sort of double topping and rejecting at that 21.25 supply. So while the Russell is still maintaining these daily SMAs, right? See how these daily SMAs continue to hold the market higher? You could maybe find the long off this level, right, for your next push into those highs. It's very possible, but you just need to be aware of that pretty major level above on the Russell at 21.25. Dow Jones strong. Nice hold of that 38,880 level that we've been talking about. I don't really watch the Dow much, but that is a very solid hold that just came in there at the 50 SMA, right? Look how clean that was. Dow Jones, Daniel Jones, Indiana Jones, Mike Jones. All right. 2,000 people, 500 likes. Press that like button. Subscribe to the channel. KNYC, member for 5 months. I appreciate the support, K. Appreciate that, man. All right. Press that like button. Subscribe to the channel. Let's jump into some stocks. Quincy Jones. Oh, Tesla. You hear this? I don't. Did I say Alexa? She's still going. Holy shit, she's still going. What the hell, dude? Well, I don't think I said the A word, but she definitely came alive. Okay, back to it. Does anyone else's Alexa go off? I don't want to say it too loud because she's going to go off again. All right. Tesla, man, just staying weak. And we took a very nice profit on Tesla swing trades yesterday. A beautiful swing trade and exit yesterday. I think it was about a $3,500 trade. So congrats on that one, guys. I got in shorts on Monday on Tesla, and I said, I'm staying in this thing, right? I'm staying in this thing until it gets over 180. And this is exactly what Tesla did. It rejected 180 yesterday, got a nice profit into that drop. We pushed back higher, and we rejected it again. So the extreme low here on Tesla is 172, right? 172 is the extreme low, and it looks like you're starting to get very close into it here. 172, yesterday 172, and today it's looking pretty weak right now. And what is happening this morning that is very key, okay? You guys remember our 175 level? Look at the weakness under 175 today. Right here, 175. Look at this, right? Look at this extreme weakness under 175 today. If you can get a pop on Tesla today, look for the rejection of 175. That would be a great entry in my opinion. If you can get a pop on Tesla, look to see if it starts to weaken into this 175 right there, right? That would be very, very nice. So you have 175 previous lows. You have very clear rejections in the pre-market. Pop and fade off 175 is the play to watch today, in my opinion. Don't short Tesla into a hole, okay? You can see what happens when you short Tesla into a hole. You short Tesla into a hole, you get smacked, okay? Short Tesla on pops. Understand, right? You need to understand, or at least you need to have at least one thing you trust. There's got to be at least one thing you try to trust here on Tesla. The one thing that you can try to trust on Tesla, which I have been trusting and been profiting off of, is every pop is a opportunity to short, okay? There's going to be a time where you try to short a pop and it just keeps sort of going, right? And that's just going to be what happens. You're going to have to accept your loss and you're going to have to move on, okay? That's just what happens, right? This is why we trade with risk management, because we are not always going to be correct. It's not possible to always be correct. But what you can do is, if you like a potential trade, you take it, you have risk management, you have a stop loss, you take your loss, you move on, right? This is trading. There's not one trade that should totally destroy your portfolio, okay? So if Tesla pops into 175 today and I see weakness stepping up there, I'm going to short the stock, right? And there's nothing wrong with doing that if I do take a loss. If I take a loss, I take a loss, I accept it, I move on, okay? That's just what trading is. So if I see this pop, I'm going to look at every pop as a fade opportunity. So that's what I'll look for today at 175. If you get a pop in the 180, that's a dream fade, okay? That's dream fade, right? If Tesla does some crazy shit this morning, goes straight up today, sort of creeps towards that 180 again, absolutely dream fade. Load in those shorts around 180. And if it gets over 180, you stop out, right? But yeah, that's the one thing I would continue to look for on Tesla, guys. Until this trend sort of breaks, until Tesla gets out of this hangover, this funk, right? Tesla is absolutely in an attack. It's under attack, right? There's no question about it. Until Tesla somehow forms, some kind of real strength and gets out of this attack mode that it's under, the pops are fades. The pops are fades. And every pop has been a fade for a few weeks now. Pop, fade, pop, fade, pop, fade, pop, fade, right? Every single time. All right? So watch that. Nvidia. All right. So, Nvidia. Man, this is an interesting time for Nvidia, and here's why. Here's the two. There's two ways to think about Nvidia here today, guys. This is either, right? I'm going to give you both sides of the story. I'm going to give you bearish. I'm going to give you bullish, okay? The bearish side here is that this attempt higher is a lower high, and this is a failed attempt, right, at new highs, which could be the, I don't like, please, I don't get clipped, so I'm not popular enough to get clipped and then put on internet, but this could be, right, if you see a failed attempt higher today, and if next week or this week Nvidia creates a new low, right, if Nvidia at any point this week or next week creates a new low, this could be your topping area on Nvidia with a lower high forming, right, and a failed attempt at new highs. This could be sort of that last push that traps some longs, right, traps the longs that looked for this to go back to new highs, and it could be that failed attempt higher, right, for a actual sort of topping action. That's possibility number one. Possibility number two is that this was just a perfect pullback long opportunity. And you can see this was a good long opportunity in the short term. You can see pullback, nice long here. You need Nvidia to hold 890 to 900 today to be the next long opportunity, right? I think you cannot break back under right here on Nvidia. This cannot break on Nvidia if you want to see this continue to the upside. Nvidia needs to turn. Yeah, I know. Ha ha ha. Nvidia topping. I know, T-Man. Trust me. Trust me. I'm not very confident in that first read that I have, but I'm just giving you sort of the idea here. In my opinion, Nvidia will need to hold this area on. Who is blowing up my Discord right now? I mean, Jesus. You need to hold this area. Okay, 890 to 900. If you pull back to this, I think this has to be that stronghold level, right? It has to be. It has to claim and reclaim and very strongly hold above that Monday high, right? Friday you had 890, 900, 890, 900. Monday 890, right? Yesterday you got above that 890 and ripped higher, right? And if you pull back today, this is a must-hold level, okay? If you get back under this 890, 900 today, right? If you get back under this and reject it, Nvidia is going to move back lower, okay? Back to this 850. So in my eyes, this is must-hold time. Must-hold 890, 900 on Nvidia. Watch that. That could absolutely be a next long entry, okay? Don't think that that's not a potential long entry, because it is, right? This is potentially a break and retest long entry, right? But you have to see some solid action form in that 890, 900 area today, okay? So watch out for that area. AMD. So if you guys are part of the group, you know I am short AMD. And there is one reason why I'm short AMD, okay? And here it is. This is really the main reason I'm short AMD. I believe AMD needs to come back down to this 185. I believe, I'm going to go ahead and delete these drawings right now. I believe that AMD needs to come back down and retrace this move to 185. 185 or the 20 SMA. And the reason for that is because I actually want to really long AMD. I want to take AMD longs, but I still believe it's too extended to take the long entry. I want this daily chart break and retest to create a sexy, sexy long, right? And so I would be very confident to long AMD back at these daily candle highs and back at that daily 20 SMA. If we can get back to this area, I am absolutely looking for this long entry. But I still believe AMD is a little bit overextended, right, before that happens. So you can see the 20 SMA is down here at 187. The 4-hour double top high is down here at 184, 185. And I still believe AMD needs to come back down to this level, right, before strong buyers step up. And if I go to the, let me go to the hourly chart. And if I go to the volume profile, this is sort of why I'm thinking this on AMD. So here's volume profile. And you can see there's a pretty, there's a little bit of action here where it's been consolidating. But there's a little gap here below, right? Right below this 196 area. Right below like this 196, 196.50. There's a nice little valley of price action, right in this area. And so what I would really want to see is AMD come back down, fill this low volume gap, come back down to that 185, come back down to that 20 SMA, and if it does, this is where I think buyers will step up for that next big long opportunity. Until then, right, if I think AMD should pull back, then I don't typically do this, right? This is sort of a new, you always try different things in the market. Typically, if I would not want to long AMD here, I would simply do nothing and just wait for it to pull back, right? Wait for it to pull back, wait for it to give me that pullback move, and then really start to formulate that long entry. This time around, I decided, hey, if you think AMD should pull back, well, let's go ahead and try to give it let's go ahead and try to short the name and see if you can short it down to your pullback level and then long it at the pullback level. That's sort of my mindset as to why I'm short AMD right now. So I shorted AMD yesterday. with the idea of 205 rejecting. If you go to the, right, this was all, I made a big write-up here in the Desi Swing section on the Discord, right, explaining myself as to why I was short AMD with a stop up at that 205. And as of right now, I'm thinking it's looking okay, right? I like this rejection right at my 205 level today. That looks really good. As long as AMD is under this 205, I like my short entry here, looking for that drop, right, down towards that 20 SMA and down towards that 184. It looks like you're going to need to break this 196 level, though, today, so that's going to be a key level to watch. All right, TSM. TSM had a nice hold of that 140 demand yesterday. That was very nice, but look at what TSM's doing here. A little bit of a nasty rejection at this 147. So be a little bit cautious on TSM here, right? 147, 147, 147. Pretty clear triple top there on TSM, okay? So be aware of that on TSM, 147. I would assume TSM's going to pull back to this 140 if it stays under this 147, right? Could be a little bit of a lower high move here on TSM. So watch out for that 147 supply. That looks very heavy, and so I would be watching a pullback to that 140 today. MU, another one that is pretty clearly, right, it held this demand low at 93, but look at where it's rejecting, right? These stocks are starting to reject. There's many stocks that are potentially, right? Let me use the word potentially because I'm not solid yet on my opinion here, but potentially there's a lot of names that are potentially making lower highs, okay? MU, right? TSM, AMD, right? Nvidia. There's some potential lower highs that could be forming here. It's either lower highs, right? Or it's just a, next leg higher, and this is just a pullback. I don't know yet. There's not enough information yet here, right? But this is why I haven't been getting that heavy this week, because I haven't quite seen enough to understand whether this is a lower high or a next leg higher, right? I don't know quite yet, and that's why I started this stream by talking to you about, hey, I'm going to take it a little bit easy this week because I still need to see a little bit, right? I still need to see a little bit before I, really get interested here on big size trades. So MU is another one that's very similar to what we've been looking at, right? You have this high, you have this drop, you have the pushback higher. Is this a lower high for a next, for a lower low to form, or is just this another pullback for the next demand hold? We don't know yet, but just watch the levels, right? The levels are 98, the levels are 93. All right. ARM, ARM's dead, guys. It's donezo. It's under that 135. I would say ARM stays very weak under 135, right? We were looking for 135 to stay as a demand for that next upside push. It very clearly did not do that. It failed under the 135, and look at what it failed at yesterday. Look at this, okay? This is a telltale sign. Look, see this? This is very, very key. What did it reject at perfectly yesterday at on ARM? The daily 20. Bam, 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 bam. Daily 20, bam, right? So that is very key on ARM, right? I would not be now looking to long ARM if it is below that daily 20, if it is below that 135. If anything, I would look for pops and fades into that daily 20. Meta, another name, right? Another name that's doing what we just talked about. Another name that is potentially doing the lower high dance, right? Breakdown, pop back higher. Is this a lower high forming, right? Is this your next rejection spot? 505, 505, 505, right? Look at how clear this could be on the market. So watch that 505, okay? That's really the key. If Meta gets back over 505, this thing's going higher, okay? But if it stays under 505, right, this could be an interesting short spot, right, for that next drop, maybe back towards that demand low. So 505 is the big level on Meta today. Amazon continues to attempt this push higher, but there is one level that continues to not allow Amazon higher, and that is 176. You cannot get a day to hold over 176. You just can't get it, right? You had a few days last week that attempted to hold above it, right? But it just cannot get a solid hold over this 176 level. Again, yesterday, another day where you got a pop, and we just could not maintain that 176 level. So I would continue to watch this 176 on Amazon. Keep an eye on that supply. This could be a rejection spot. If you can get above 176, then maybe there's something, but you really need to be above, in my opinion, you need to be above 176. I would only long Amazon back down at the 171. All right, this would be my only long spot on Amazon at this point. If you can get a pullback, look for that 171 again. Coinbase, they did an offering yesterday. I would have expected a little bit more weakness off that offering. You know, as of right now, it's still maintaining pretty well. What's Buttcoin doing? Buttcoin's up at 74, 73. Yeah, I mean, I'm sort of retired on coin. I think there's just a lot of risk now on coin. I don't know, right? It's hard, right? Because coin is trading with Bitcoin, and it is very hard to know what Bitcoin is going to do. Bitcoin is one of the most volatile assets, and we could literally wake up tomorrow to Bitcoin down 10%. It would not be an irregularity if we wake up to Bitcoin down 15, 20%, right? It's totally possible. And so this is something you need to understand when you are trading in Bitcoin-related names, such as Coin, such as Mara, such as Riot, right? You are at risk of, whether you're short or long, right, you are at risk of waking up the next morning to Bitcoin being up 10%, down 20%, right? This is the type of moves that Bitcoin can do, and it's a little bit too shiny of an object for me, okay? I don't like doing that kind of stuff. That's not how I think, consistency in trading is created. So we took some trades on coin in the past off some very clear levels, right? We took some of these longs off some very clear levels. It's getting a little frothy for me, right? It's getting a little bit questionable for me, and that's why I've sort of stayed away from coin for now. But you can see, right, if you can get some intraday scalps off maybe this 240 level, it's not a bad look. If you can maybe get a little pullback and long off 240, I don't think that's terrible. If you can pull back maybe back to that 212, I don't think that's terrible, right? So I would just really focus on the levels here on Coinbase. I would say 240, maybe that 213, right? Look for those pullback longs. That's what I would look for. But I would not be looking to long Coinbase when it's frothy up at the highs. I would want pullbacks to be long opportunities. Let's go to, Microsoft. We got to watch Microsoft today. If the market is weak today, which it's not weak yet, it's pulling back slightly, but there's no weakness here yet. But if the market can maintain itself today, Microsoft is a very, very interesting potential swing trade, okay? This is the weekly chart on Microsoft. Let me go ahead and delete some of these lines. Let me go back to this. This is the weekly chart, right? So every candle is a week of price action. And you can see in the past, Microsoft, what it typically likes to do is it likes to consolidate for a next move higher, right? You can see even back here, this is a little bit of a larger consolidation, but that's what it does, right? It consolidates, it pushes higher. It consolidates, it pushes higher. It consolidates, it pushes higher, right? That's what Microsoft has been doing on the weekly chart. Well, where are you at today, right? What have you been doing on Microsoft? Well, again, right, look at this. Consolidation, leg higher. Consolidation. Is this another leg higher coming soon on Microsoft? I like the break above 416 today. Let me go back to my levels. I like the break above 416 today. I love the demand, right? If you guys came to the live stream for the last few weeks, what did we say? Why would you not long here, right? Why not long here? Why not long here, right? The only reason you don't long here and here and here is because you're scared that it's going to break down. Well, once again, the demand lows hold. And if you have been long Microsoft since the lows, you crushed it, right? So that is the same pattern that's been going on for almost 2 months, right? It did it again. So I like, this consolidation on Microsoft. I think it's very bullish. I like this break over 416. I would be a little bit cautious of this 421 high, okay? Just a little bit cautious up here at that 421 high. But today, what I would be looking for is, does Microsoft maintain 416? Does Microsoft maintain 416? Okay? Right? That is exactly what we're looking for today. Monitor Microsoft today. Keep an eye on it. If you're seeing demand step up at the 416, this could really be, okay, this could really be your next weekly chart, sort of leg higher for a pretty decent swing trade. That's if you maintain over 416 and if you get above this all-time high. All right? Interesting watch there on Microsoft today and into next week. Absolutely. Anything else I wanted to go over? Maybe Netflix. Let me pop into Netflix real quick because Netflix is another one that's still sort of structuring. We've been talking about Netflix. We've been talking about that opportunity. And you can see, look at Netflix, right? Look at this. See how this thing is continuing to hold? Look at that daily 20. It's a nice looking hold. But what I would want to see on Netflix to really confirm this upside move is a break and hold over this double top high. I would say it's 616. I'm going to put it up at 616 to be safe. I would want to see a break and hold over that double top high. If you get a hold above this high, a hold above this high, and you see demand stepping up above 616 today, this could be a nice entry long for a next upside move. So big watch on 616 today on Netflix. All right. Yeah, I'll go over Boeing last before I head out. Congrats on the Boeing downside yesterday, guys. We sort of, we took those Boeing puts yesterday morning. Very nice. About a 40% trade. Look at what Boeing's doing today. Boeing is potentially getting stuck right under yesterday's lows. Look at this. Look at this 183. 183, 183. That is a very interesting Boeing break and hold below. Look for Boeing to stay under yesterday's lows today for another drop to the downside, okay? Watch 183 on Boeing. There might be some games played here, okay? There might be some games played, so be aware of that, right? If you short Boeing today, okay? If there's one time to stick to your stop loss, it is here today, okay? If you're ever going to stick to your stop loss in trading, which I know some people are very hesitant to do, which is totally crazy to me. If you are going to stick to a stop loss ever in your life, it is stop out if Boeing gets back over yesterday's lows. If you short Boeing today, okay, and it does a little fake out dance and gets back above yesterday's lows, stop out of the trade, okay? You do not want to be short Boeing if it gets back above yesterday's lows. That will potentially cause a little bit of a pop, and then that is probably a fade, right? But you do not want to be short here, okay? You don't want to be short here and sit through a Boeing pop. That is a lot of drawdown, and you should not be part of it. So if you do short Boeing today, which I don't think there's anything wrong with looking for a rejection of yesterday's lows, that is a fantastic trade setup, right? But you have to be disciplined on your stop losses, okay? You have to be disciplined on your stop losses. You have to stop out if it gets back above yesterday's lows. It's just what you have to do, okay? All right, guys. Nasdaq coming back down into that 18.4. That's a must-hold level, in my opinion, here in the short term. QQQ coming back down to that 442. Big watch there on 442. ES still holding above that 52.35. So that's a big level for us there. And then SPY, you guys can see right here, is sitting right at our 516.50. Okay? All right, guys. That is about all that I have for you in today's live stream. It's 8:45. I got to jump over to the chat. If you guys want to join us in the chat where we stream or we trade live every day, link down in the description below. I appreciate you guys being here. If you could, before you head out, press that like button for me. That's the best thing that you could do for the videos, for the channel. Press that like button. Help me continue to grow the channel. Subscribe to the channel. If you want to stay tuned for more, we do this every day starting at 8 a.m. And I will see you guys tomorrow. Peace out.